Hello and welcome back to our study of Peninei Halacha, the teachings of Rabbi Eliezer Malamed, Shlita. We are coming along a little bit stronger each day. Thank you so much for bearing with me. Please continue davening for Chayalei Tzvah and Yisrael Fush Lem L'chol Petzuei Yisrael and a safe return of our hostages. And we learn every day L'ilui Nishmat Ser and Daniel Shem and Arav Daron V'Shelei Hashem Yikum Damo. Please remember to take 5 minutes and $5 to vote in the WZC election. Slate number 5, OIC-MIZRACHI. Extremely important. Where the funds are going, you have a say. Please make your voice heard. So the next chapter is Tefillah May. So someone who La'olenu is in mourning for one of his parents says Kaddish for the first year. This has a tremendous benefit for the one who has passed, because it saves him or her from the judgment of Gehenna. Since the child left behind is sanctifying Hashem's name with the recitation of Kaddish, so then it increases the merits on the one who is being judged up in heaven. You say Kaddish whether your parents were absolutely righteous people, or someone who was killed, who died sanctifying God's name. And even if someone is guaranteed to go to Olam Haba, you might think, well, they're a guaranteed first ballot Hall of Famer, so to speak. They don't need my Kaddish to help them, but nonetheless, every single person benefits from the Kaddish, no matter how righteous or how sure it is they're going to be in the next world. So certainly we have to say Kaddish if the parents were not the most upstanding people, if they were wicked, because they need this even more, because your Kaddish will alleviate their judgment and prevent them from going to Gehenna. And even after someone who dies by suicide, we still say Kaddish. And even though Chazal say that we don't mourn for such a person, and the Gemara and the Halacha has very strong things to say, they have no portion in the world to come. Nevertheless, the Kaddish that is recited after such a person will help repair part of what's wrong with the neshama. We've discussed this once in the past about mourning for someone who dies by suicide, and it seems to be the consensus of most modern poskim today that it's not the same as we had in the Gemara. Someone who reaches that point, unfortunately, is considered someone who is ill, someone who is not well, emotionally unstable, so it's not something they can necessarily control. If the son, aside from saying Kaddish, knows how to lead the services as well, he should be the chazan in the weekdays, because this has even a greater purpose for the niftar. But if it's difficult for him, he should try to do at least part of the davening, what we call from Ashrei and on, at the end of davening until the conclusion. It's best to be the chazan at Mariv, because that's when the judgments are piling up in Gehenna, particularly on the Mariv as Shabbos ends. So that's why people like to grab the Amud on Motzei Shabbos, because that's when the souls who got a furlough, a reprieve over Shabbos, that's when they return to Gehenna. And so therefore, I'll just add in that sometimes people who have a yard site during that week, even if it's not actually on Saturday night, will want to say the davening and lead the services on Motzei Shabbos. But this is, of course, on the condition that the son knows how to daven for the Amud. But if he cannot pronounce the words properly, or if he doesn't sound good, or if he's too quick, or if he's too long, better he shouldn't be the chazan, and he should at least just say Kaddish. You should know your limitations. And if, let's say, a person insists on being the chazan and nobody else wants him to be, instead of sanctifying God's name and sanctifying heaven through his action, it's actually the opposite is taking place. He's desecrating and defaming God's name. V'yigur tsar l'niftar, and it will then cause tsar, will cause pain and suffering for the one who has died. So, generally speaking, the avelim, the mourner, should know that with all the importance of davening for the Amud and saying Kaddish, the most important thing that you can do to help elevate the soul of your loved one that has left this world, is that the remaining surviving children, family members, they should increase their study of Torah, the giving of tzedakah, and their performance of other mitzvahs. The custom is that on Shabbos and Yontif, mourners do not lead services, because we don't want to have any expression of avelos, of mourning, on Shabbos and Chag, times of joy. And many have different customs also regarding Rosh Chodesh, Chanukah, also not davening. In the note here, he has our principle that we follow, that if it's a day that we don't say Lam Natseach, then the avelim don't lead davening. Just skipping Tachnun is not enough. If it's just missing Tachnun, like Tu B'Shvat, let's say, I think Tu B'Shvat we say Lam Natseach. So if it's a day that we say Lam Natseach but no Tachnun, the avelim will still daven. And also you have different opinions about whether Mincha and Mariv on those days as well, because there's no recitation of Hallel or Musaf. Gam kasher hatzibur chafetz she'aval ya'avor lefnei hateva b'Shabbos u'Chag, l'minig Ashkenaz lo ya'avor, l'minig Sfard ya'avor. Let's say you have someone who davens beautifully, and they want him to daven on Shabbos or on Yontif. Pesach is coming up, and they want him to sing a beautiful Hallel. Nevertheless, according to minig Ashkenaz, we wouldn't allow an Avel to lead the service, but in minig Sfard they would. Yesh kehilos sheroba behem anashim she'einam yodim la'avor lefnei hateva. There are some congregations where many people don't know how to lead the services. So they made an institution that even the mourner shouldn't go up and daven. It's brought in the Mishnah Berurah, but we shouldn't do this at Marv, at least at Marv where there's no repetition of the Shemona Esrei. So perhaps they made this institution in some shuls because since so many people don't know how to daven, we don't want to have any mirshal. We don't want to have a situation where anybody's just going to get up there, so they don't let any Avelim daven, even if they do know. But we shouldn't allow this to happen during Marv. At Marv, at least, we should let them daven. But we know how important it is for Avelim to daven, and the most important thing I can always say is that never to have an argument about who deserves the Amud, who should get the Amud, because, again, you're actually causing the exact opposite effect where you want to sanctify God's name, and instead what you're doing is chas v'shalom, making a chilul Hashem. So we all try to do the right thing. Please continue davening for Chalei Tzvah Gnei Yisrael, for Shalom L'chol Petzui Yisrael, and safe return of our hostages. Lili Nishmat Sarah and Daniel Shimon. Please remember, vote OIC-MIZRACHI, slate number 5, WZC elections. Thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. We'll see you here next time.